and Liberty Line. Truth cuts through the dark. A fireball on a mic, igniting every spark.
Welcome to Liberty Line. I'm Fireball, and today we have Orren Wang. He is the author of Battle Hymn of an Asian Immigrant, Faith, Fulfillment, and Freedom. Orren Wang. Hey, Orren. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Noreen. Thank you so much.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. First of all, I want to congratulate you on on this podcast, and I know I'm on the inaugural podcast. I'm so proud and I'm honored to be with you. And we've talked about this a long time. I'm glad that you finally pull off.
Thank you. Okay, Orren, you have wrote the book Battle Hymn of an Asian Immigrant, Faith, Freedom, and Fulfillment. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course, yeah. I am. I'm an immigrant from China. I came here as international students. I was born in eastern part of China in a very remote village. I lived in abject poverty. It's and my parents never went to school, and my dad taught himself to read and write. My mom couldn't read and write until she passed away. And before I came to the United States, I was building kind of a success career. And in China, I already have my master's degree in accounting. I got a pretty decent job. Then I went to graduate school. But the 1989 Students' Democratic movement really changed the trajectory of my life. I was in graduate school in 1989. And of course, I was deeply involved in the Democratic student movement. And after the Tiananmen Square massacre, the whole movement was crashed down. I was devastated, and I said that, well, I don't have a future in this country. Then I decided to leave. I mean, the only way for us to live is to go to school in the United States, because I don't have a relative in the United States so that I could immigrate on family reunion, and I did not have enough money to invest. You could, now you can invest $1 million, like Trump's gold card. If you have $1 million, $5 million, I mean, you can buy a green card. That's the permanent residency. The only way for me is to, get a student visa, get to the United States, and then find employment and get my green card through employment. So it took me 4 years to. I came here in 1994. When I decided to live in 1989, it was like 5 years later. So it basically took me 5 years to plan to get the financial sponsorship to come to the United States. And of course, people can read all this, all the struggle that I went through, and before I got to the United States, in chapter 3 or chapter 4, and after I got my degree in accounting, and it still took me like 2 years to get a job because I was in a student visa, and employer wouldn't hire somebody who needs sponsorship. They would have to sponsor your employment visa, which is H-1B visa. And the company did not know how to, what the process looks like, how much, cost it would be, what are the responsibility they're getting to. Can they fire you, for example? I mean, employers just hesitate to hire students, graduates on a student visa. So I had to drive from Kentucky all the way to San Francisco to get a job.
Oh my goodness.
And so after I got the job, the job was actually based in China, and I I
Oh,
had
now you're giving away your book, Orren.
okay, well, I don't mind to.
But I read the book. It's amazing story of your journey. I know when you landed in LA, you said, "Oh, it's like terror hit you in the face." Can you explain why that was?
Well, when my friends booked the reservation, one-way ticket for me to fly from Hong Kong to the United States to Bowling Green, actually it's Nashville, and Nashville International Airport, and I thought that the transition will be smoothless. As soon as I got off, LA airport, and I was trying to find a connection flight, and then people told me, "People look at the ticket and say, hey, your flight is." In Ontario, Canada, it's 30 miles away. It was in the, it was pitch, dark pitch outside, and I did not know what to do. So I froze. So yeah, that's the panic hit. Yeah, that's the panic hit me, and
it hit you. So that was reality. You came to the country to study, and that was the first. You're landing in LA, and then you see panic stricken because you couldn't get to your other flights. So I understand. I would be a little bit freaked out too. So it's understandable. So let's talk about your life in China and your upbringing, your parents and communism and how that all affected everybody.
Well, like I said earlier, I was born in the abject poverty in the early 1960s, in the first part of 1960s. And my parents never went to school, and my mom, because she couldn't read, and she decided to send all of us. I have two sisters and one brothers, and even though she had to, did all the house chore and some work on the farms, she still sent all of us to school. And my elementary school was not really a school. It was just a 2 classroom in an ancestry hall. And we did not have anything, air conditioner, heater. We were frozen to death. And people can tell that how I kept warm in classroom. And I was a pretty good student in elementary school. But when I entered middle school, it was the it was the height of the Cultural Revolution in China, and they just stopped teaching. I mean, everybody was involved, even students. They were involved in political fight between different factions, and so there was not a peaceful desk in the school, as we often call it. And so my grade just plummeted because nobody, and I did not learn anything in middle school, and even in the first few years of high school. And then in 1976, the dictator, Chairman Mao died, and after he died, Deng Xiaoping, the successor, he initiated the economic reform. He said, "Oh, we are going to restore the education. We're going to admit students from high school graduate." And then 2 years before I graduated from high school, and they restored the traditional college admission test. You go to college based on the admission test. So I was lucky, and I had like a year and a half to prepare for those admission tests. And luckily, I got into college, but it was only a 2-year college. I was trained to be a math teacher, and I did teach math for 4 years. And the important part of my life was, I learned English by myself. When I was probably 14 years old, my dad brought home a simple radio set, and there was not much to listen to, because during Cultural Revolution, all forms of literature, arts, they were banned. the communists just sanctioned 8 Beijing opera. With that little radio, the only thing I could listen was the opera. I listened again and again, literally thousands of times, and then I can imitate, and I can mimic. I remember all the script of the. I listened to it so many times. I can remember every word of the script. I can mimic the sound, the stage sound, even the background noise. So I developed a very acute sense of, sense to sound. So, and about a year and a half later, I was, in the late summer afternoon, I was just, turn on the radio. There were two, a gentleman and a lady, they were talking in English. And I was instantly mesmerized by the beauty of the language. So I just listened. And later on, I compared that experience to the experience when you go to watch Italian opera, right? I mean, when I listen to the sopranos of Italian songs, I couldn't understand a single word, but you still mesmerized, right, by it.
Yeah.
So I, listened to that English teaching program. It's called English by the Radio. And I listened for like 2 months without even a textbook. And in 2 months, I got a chance to, I got a hold of a textbook. So that's the real learning starts. So I learned English by myself just for like, 2 years. And after I taught math for 4 years, and the English teacher quit, I told, the principal and said, well, let me teach English. Her jaw dropped, nobody knew that I could teach English.
Well, good.
So I taught English for 1 year, and then I just got into different programs to get a, higher degree. And then after I got into the program to on my path to have a bachelor's degree, I changed my interest again. I said, well, I want to get into business field. So I passed the admission test to graduate school. I was learning, economics, public finance. So.
Okay, cool. So talk a little bit about growing up during communism and the different aspects of it.
Well, communism, I always have debate with my son. I mean, he was born here, and he read something about communism, but I told him, I lived in communism, and it's all about destruction and disappear, because you live under the thumb of a big government. I have a comparison. I say in China, the communist government is not too big, it's too small. It's so small that it gets into every cell of your body to control you. Right here, we all say, "Oh, I oppose big government." I put it another way, and I say, in a communist country, the government is not too big, it's too small, it's so small that it gets into every cell of your body to control you. And like I said, communism is about control. First of all, they control the means of production, all the plants, the equipment, the land, they are owned by the state. Even in the countryside, the cows could be owned by the collective. And so you don't have any economic freedom. You have to do what the government told you to do, even though you spot a business opportunity that you can make something that meet the demands to enrich other people's life, at the same time to improve your economic situation. That's not allowed. And in my book, I encourage people to read my book. I have 2 examples, and I provided empirical evidence of what communism looked like.
Yes, very good. Very good. Okay, now let's talk about, now that you're in Kentucky and you're getting ready to go to school, how does that all work together once you got your visa and got in?
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I got into Kentucky, I was so overwhelmed because I accounting was a very technical subject. Was a very technical subject. In
Mhm.
China, their accounting system, they modify the Soviet style. Under a planned economy, accounting is primarily statistics. It's the branch
Mhm.
of statistics. But
Mhm.
in the market economy, the county is totally different. So when I got into Western Kentucky, I got into the Master of Professional Accountancy program at a graduate level. I did not
Mhm.
take, U.S. accounting at undergraduate level.
Oh
How
my
could I
goodness.
deal with that? I had so much ground to cover, so I was so overwhelmed. I was really thinking about quitting. I mean, if you read my
Wow.
book, I question
I
myself, and I
have.
said, do I have what I need? Do I have what it takes for me to succeed? I was really thinking about quitting, and then I thought about, okay, well, I actually came here on a one-way ticket. There was not a room for me. There was not a path for me to go back.
Yeah.
So I had to hang in there, and to overcome all the obstacles. Of course, I got a lot of help from my professors and uh, my classmates, and it turned out that I was able to overcome all this.
Yes, you
And
were.
and of course, during the whole process, I just want to mention that I have a feeling that God was in my life even before I become a Christian.
Absolutely.
I up to now I still couldn't understand why I pick up English. Nobody asked me
Mhm.
to, and in I couldn't see any situation that I would use English, right? I did not even go to the county seat before I turned 18. So my before I turned 18, my life was confined in an area of probably 5 miles radius. And
Wow.
under that circumstances, I was learning English. I mean, even a
Mhm.
crazy person wouldn't do that. So I just tell people, I mean, it must be divine intervention. God already set up
Absolutely.
paths for me to, to
Yep.
come to the United States. And of course, when I encountered so much difficulty when I was in Western Kentucky,
Mhm.
really, really, my Christian faith just, uh, sustained me.
Yes, it got you through a lot because you
Yeah.
went through a lot. And of course, you met your wife, and that changed your life a little bit, didn't it?
Well, actually, I met her when I was in China, and
Oh,
I did not meet
okay.
her here. I did not meet her here. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So you brought her over after you
yeah,
got in.
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Mhm.
Okay. That's awesome. So after she got over here, then life changed a little bit, I would assume, right?
Not really. She got
Not really?
pregnant without planning. We did not have. We were so surprised that she was pregnant, and there's a big struggle we had to go through. I mean, people who read the book, they will know that you know we were in a very bad financial situation because international
Mhm.
students are not allowed to work. Okay, even though I want to
Mhm.
work, I
Uh-huh.
couldn't work. International students are not allowed to work. I did have, assistantship, like I was a teaching assistant. I had a little income, but we were not in any way to be ready to have a child. And even after graduation, we still need to find a job. So, and we were seriously consider about abortion, and again it was a divine
It
interference.
was, wasn't it?
Yeah, one day when I was driving I-65, that's the interstate that runs through Bowling Green, Kentucky. I was get on the highway to go from Bowling Green to Nashville. I drove on that road multiple times. on that particular day, normally there are, I wouldn't look at what billboard says,
You're right.
near
Yeah.
the entrance. And so on that day, all of a sudden, I raised my head and I saw a billboard with a lovely baby. The line states that if you kill the baby now, it's a if you kill the baby now, it's called murder. If you kill the baby 6 months ago, it's abortion.
Oh,
That
wow.
really hit me. And I was asking myself, we're killing a baby. So no matter
Mhm.
how difficult it would be, we decided to keep the baby. And,
Yes.
we had to send him back when he was 6 months old before I went to uh, San Francisco to find a job. So
That must have been one of the hardest things
oh,
you've
that's
done is
it's
have
in probably chapter 6 or 7.
I think,
And,
yeah, it is. It talks
yeah,
about you
and I
sending your
just feel
baby.
like we did not send Jason back to China. We asked somebody else to help, and
Yes.
we bought the airline ticket for her and also for Jason. And as soon
Mhm.
as I handed over Jason to her, I felt that I lost part of my body. And
I
so
can understand.
it was it was a very bad experience.
I imagine so, but you eventually went to San Francisco and continued on with your life. But in chapter 6, there's a lot more about your friends and your sister and their experiences. So go read the book. It's very touching. But you got to San Francisco and you stayed with a friend to try to find a job. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
well, after I sent Jason back to China, within like 2 weeks, I drove a very old car. It was a damaged car from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Usually it takes about 3 days. It took me 5 days because I cannot just, get the car up to speed, no matter how hard I try it.
Yeah.
And the readers can read when I was climbing the Rocky Mountain, I could only get to the car no matter how hard I whipped the I whipped the horse, and I could only get to 20 miles an hour. And when we hit a construction area, and the one lane was closed. And for like 15 minutes, everybody else behind me was driving 20 miles an hour. So yeah, it was. It took me 5 days to get to Kentucky, to San Francisco. In San Francisco, I still have the same problem. I had multiple. I landed multiple jobs when they noticed that I need sponsorship for H-1B visa.
Mhm.
They,
Hmm.
they said, okay,
Orren,
yeah,
the sun is right in your eyes. Can you
yeah,
come
yeah. I
forward a
don't
little
know.
bit? Yeah, right there. There
Okay.
you go. Thank you.
Okay, so I still have the difficulty to finally secure the job. Even though employers like my skill, they couldn't sponsor for green card. And finally, I got an employer, and they have 3 joint ventures in China. They definitely need somebody who
Mhm.
knows the Chinese accounting and U.S. accounting and also speak the language. And they had been looking for such candidate for like 2 years. They couldn't find it. And
Oh,
then by the grace of God, I guess. And so
absolutely.
we connected with the employer, and they did not even mention anything. That they say that we will sponsor your green card because they want to attract me.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was the turn of a fortune, and from there on, my life changed completely. Even though the
Yes.
life was, I mean, even the job is in Beijing. The job was in Beijing, China, and for me, I had no choice. My student visa was expiring. I had to leave the country. I had to take the job. They have to take me because they don't have a second choice.
Yeah.
So I end up, taking the job, flew back to China with my boss. He's a chief financial officer of the company, and I worked for them for 5 years. And
Oh, that's good.
they sponsored my green card application. I came back in 2001. Yeah, right after September 11, and
Okay.
meet, my life in China during the 5 years, and a lot of histories. To be honest with you,
Yeah,
yeah, the book tells about the city of Beijing and Chinese culture.
absolutely.
So I packed quite a bit of stuff into the book.
Now, is it true that your wife did not go with you when you went
Well,
there?
she was here. She was here going to graduate school, and
Okay.
then after she graduated, she got a job in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Okay.
And for us, it's kind of a strategy, because if both of us, went back to China, the employer probably would not sponsor our green card application. So that's
Oh, okay.
that consideration. We were not sure. They still promised they're going to sponsor our green card. But I just thought that if we both went back to China, they said, oh, yeah, we're going to just hire you as a local talent. So,
Yeah. So you guys were apart for a long time then, weren't
yes,
you?
almost 5 years. Of course,
Oh,
I came
wow.
back probably 4 times a year, and when she was in graduate school, she could, go back to China during summer break and winter break, and other than that, we were, separated.
But did you get to see your son when you went to Beijing?
Oh well, when his mom visited me, yeah, I got to see him. Only, when they visited me, or when I
Oh,
came
okay.
back. Yeah, when I came back.
Wow. That was hard.
Yeah, I
So,
like babies. I love kids, and I could play with them all day long. It's
yeah.
it's really heartbreaking for me to part with my son. I told people he's my pet. I don't. He's my pet. Yeah, when I was kid, I have both dogs and cat and even pigs. I have many pets, but after I came to the United States, especially after I have my son, I told people he's my pet.
That's a new one. I hadn't heard that. I don't think that was in your book.
What? There's
That's
another
cool.
thing. There's another thing. One of my friends said that, oh, the kids are parents are toys. So
In your book, you said that your mom went to a doctor's appointment in China and brought you back this little toy that you were
uh-huh.
enamored with. Could you tell us what it was and why you were so enamored with it?
Well, I did not have any toys. Okay, I've never played any toys. I made toys with tree branches. I make the caterpillar, right? Is it a caterpillar? And I make, handguns with clay. I never have a real toy when I grew up. So when my mom was probably when I was already like 7, 8, 9 years old. So my mom went to see a see a
Gynecologist?
guy. What's the what's the word?
Gynecologist. A
Psychologist.
woman's
Yeah,
doctor. Just say
psychologist.
woman's
And
doctor. We're
he
good.
brought back home a toy. It's a
Uh-huh.
handgun. Yeah, it's a handgun, and that was my first toy. It's probably the only toy that I have ever had.
Wow.
And we live in a very primitive life, and we were off
Mhm.
grid. We did not have electricity, and like I said earlier, the only electronics was the simple radio set my dad brought home when I was probably 12 and 13. So
Wow.
it was a very tough childhood.
It was, but your parents seemed like they were loving and caring. I mean, like your parents, they gave you this one phrase that I just dearly loved. Let me get it straight before I find it.
The most important thing that they told me is about independence. My
Yes,
mom used
yes,
she used the hand. She said that when you are taking hand out, your
uh-huh,
palms goes up, right? If you
right.
give somebody, if you give away things, your hands your palms, face down. And
Yes,
he said that if you want to live a life of dignity, you should be giving rather than taking. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
The phrase I wanted to ask you about is if you don't suffer the most, how can you become the most successful, honorable character? That was very profound to me.
Well, that's the teaching. That's not actually, that's not from her. It's this phrase. Everybody in Chinese society, they know.
Oh, okay.
Everybody in Chinese society knows. So, basically, it says that life is not meant to be easy. Yeah. So that's why I give the book title "Battle Hymn."
Uh-huh.
And so life is a battle.
It
It's
is.
not meant to be easy. It's meant to be lived. So even today, I encourage my son and every people I love that, don't take the easy path. Okay.
Right.
Your life will be easy if you take the easy path, but you're not going to achieve much.
Right.
So that's just the Chinese philosopher and thinkers, they passed down from generations.
Okay, that's good.
And I think that's very relevant. In our
Very much so.
society, we talk about how we can get by with minimum effort, and we value comfort over over effort.
Right.
So yeah, that's for me, it's not the way to achieve something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very good. So back to your story. After you left, you came back from China, correct? With
Yeah,
your
I
wife
came
and
back
your
right
son?
after September 11,
Okay.
and I worked for Armstrong, the company which sponsored my green card application. I came back. I already, trained their staff, setting up their system.
Mhm.
Everything runs smoothly, and I feel like, okay, I've done my job. They sponsor my green card, and I could move between employer. I could quit the job,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because after they sponsor your green card application, you have to work with them, continue to work with them. Otherwise,
Okay.
that application will be invalid. And
Oh,
so
okay.
after I got my green card, and I noticed that I mean, there's not much for me to do, so I left the company and I started working for Coca-Cola first, and then Minute Maid, then Kellogg, the cereal company. And
Okay.
that's before I, moved back to Atlanta.
Right.
So we moved from Michigan to Atlanta in 2006. Yeah, 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you moved to where? South Georgia, right? Not South
Yeah,
Georgia, but Georgia.
moving to Peachtree City area. Yeah,
Peachtree
south
City.
of the
Yeah.
city. Then I worked for the airport. I was a senior
Oh,
financial manager at
okay.
Atlanta International Airport for 3.5 years. And then my son graduated from middle school. We always
Right.
value education. I want him to go to the best high school. So we moved to East Cobb. So
Okay.
my son went to Wharton High School. I think it's one of the best high school in the metro area. It's a charter school. It's not private school.
Okay.
But we moved to East Cobb, and then he after he got into college,
Mhm.
and it's not disappointing. He went to pretty good university, and and when he got into university, he went to UC Berkeley, University of California. In
Okay.
tuition is astronomical,
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
so I don't want him to get into student debt. And so in the second year, in his sophomore year, I took a job in Central California so that he could pay
Okay.
in-state tuition. That saved him a lot of money. So
Oh, I know you did.
he graduated in 2018 without a single penny of student loan. He graduated at one of the top university in the country without a single penny of student loan. Because I work in California, he was able to pay in state. That saved
Very
him
good.
a lot of money. And
Very good. And what degree did he get?
he got a business degree, months before, probably 5 months, 6 months before he even graduated. He already got multiple job offer.
Wow.
Now he's a business consultant, and
That's
he's
awesome.
making almost $200,000. I mean,
That's
don't
good.
put the real figure there. But yeah, he had no student loan.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And, so
that you
that's
did that.
that's
And
our Chinese. That's the Chinese philosophy. We don't want
Yeah.
we help our kids. We sacrifice. We made a lot of sacrifice.
You
know.
made a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah, when I took the job in Central California, it was a very hard job. Not because the job itself, the environment. Central California, its temperature reach 116 degrees in summer.
Yeah.
And that city is one of the most polluted city in the country.
What city was it?
It's a Fresno Pacific. Fresno.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
yes.
a chief accounting officer at Fresno Pacific University. It's a Christian university.
Okay.
Yeah, it turned out I really like it. It was a Christian college. It strengthened my Christian faith.
Yeah.
And of course, I could make significant contribution to the financial management. But at the same time, I got out of in-state tuition for Jason. I could strengthen my Christian faith.
Yes.
And it was in God's plan. It was in God's
Absolutely.
plan. Everything worked out very well.
It was divine intervention for sure for you to be able to move out to California and help your son. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now you're still you don't live in Cobb anymore, do you? You live in Fulton?
Well, I moved. Yeah. The book ends in 2018. Yeah.
Right.
I want the story is about me as an immigrant.
Right.
I'm always politically active, but
Right.
Before 2018, even before 2020, I vote. Yeah, after I got my U.S. citizen and I become a citizen, I vote, and I explained in my book why I vote, how I voted, and why I voted that way. And so after 2020, the 2020 election, Trump lost, quote unquote, the election.
Yeah, right.
Become politically active, but it's so I may write a second book after 2018 as an activist. So
go ahead. Let's talk about how you got to be a citizen. That was kind of sweet.
Oh yeah, I recommend that people read chapter. I don't know which chapter. It's probably
in your book. That's all they need to know.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna tell you the day I had appointment to have immigration interview and to swear as a U.S. citizen.
Right.
So I still remember it was Monday, March 12th, I believe. It was a gloomy and rainy day. And I drove 30 minutes. Yeah, so probably 40 minutes. It wasn't that long. It wasn't a long drive, but it was raining. I drove 40 minutes to have my appointment. When you become a citizen, you have to have an interview with the immigration officer and also take a civic test. Okay. So I made an appointment. It's on a Monday. So when I got into the immigration office, as soon as I walk into the after past security, I walk into the immigration office. I walk into a waiting room with multiple television, monitors. Right. And I was hit by all the news because 3 days earlier, triple disaster hit Japan. It was a tsunami.
Yep.
No, it was an earthquake triggered tsunami, and
Yep.
then that engulfed the tsunami, engulfed their power plant, wash away the
Yes.
power plant. That caused massive radio leak.
Yes, I remember
And
that.
I was on a Friday, and my appointment was on Monday. As soon as I walk into the room, the TV monitor, they have a rolling report from Asia and
Mhm.
Europe.
Mhm.
The New York, the financial market was tumbling. It looks like
Oh,
the
yes.
end of the world. It
Oh,
got me thinking. I said, well, and 1 year earlier, Chinese economy surpassed Japan's economy and become the second largest economy in the world. And under this situation, I was considering giving up my Chinese citizenship to become a U.S. citizen.
okay.
And for a little while, I questioned myself whether I made the right choice. Then I realized,
Mhm.
the United States is still the greatest country, even though we used
Absolutely.
financial crisis in
Mhm.
2008, like 3 years
Yep.
earlier. We had the September 11 terrorist attack.
Yep.
But this is still a good country, and if we can defend our God
Absolutely.
freedom, we could still lead the world.
Mhm.
So, and I had, without any hesitation, I had the interview, took the civic test. Then I realized, I was just wearing, weekend clothes to take the oath. And I say, oh, this is a very solemn moment. I cannot just wear, such clothes. So I
Exactly.
wrote back. I hate to drive, even, especially during, a
Rainy
sleeper
weather.
road. It was
Yeah.
pouring, it was pouring outside. I still took, 30 minutes, go back and just to change clothes. And then I came
Oh,
back and I joined probably 300 other people. We
oh, that's
pledged allegiance,
great.
the allegiance, the pledge, the pledge of allegiance, and in English, but we all speak English with some accent, so it's
Right.
probably
Right.
20 accent. And people love that. A lot of people read the book and tell me that they were very moved by that chapter.
It was very, very good. And that you took the time to go change your clothes
Yeah,
because
you
you
just
thought it was such a solemn occasion to become a citizen. That is
right.
just amazing. It was good. It was good. So now that you're a citizen and you're here, how do you feel about the country now that you're part of it and you can actually vote? And I know you voted in the last election. So how do you see the country now from your eyes?
Well, I have to be honest. I have never
Please.
been so pessimistic about the country. It's. I hope that we can still turn around. We can still turn around, and I
Yeah.
agree with Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I like the kids a lot. I mean, he could be my son. Yeah, he's that young, and I admire
Yeah.
him. And he said that we are in a spiritual
Yes.
fight.
Yes.
And right
Yes.
now, I think that the problem we face is not economical. It's not economic. It's not
Mhm.
culture. It's not even political. It's a spiritual.
Oh, battle.
We're in a spiritual war.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we're in a spiritual war. It was very disappointing. Last, when Trump came to Atlanta on August the 3rd,
Uh-huh.
to have a rally, I
Right.
spoke to ISBN reporter. I said that we live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid. That was less than 2
Amen.
years ago. That was only 2 years ago.
I
And
know.
that video clips got me 6 million likes
That's
on
awesome.
X. And now I reflect, right? After I only said that about a year and a half ago. And now what? In
Yeah.
New York, we elect a socialist as a mayor. We elect Seattle elected a socialist as a mayor. Here in Atlanta, we elect a socialist as a city council. I don't know if you knew this. It was
Yes.
she is a democratic socialist, and she was elected as a city council member. And again, this, when I say we don't drink socialist Kool-Aid only a year
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
and now, you know what? We are drinking socialist Kool-Aid. We think that the socialism is the way to go. That's where I
it's not.
escape. That's
No,
where I
it's
escape. How can you publicly praise socialism when my lived life tells me that socialism only means despair and destruction?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And also we just give up on our faith.
Yeah.
And I tell people, from my personal story, I can provide the testimony that God is real.
Yes.
God is real. I mean, you probably don't notice. If you pay attention to what happened to you and try to make sense of it, the only explanation is that you were saved by God.
Absolutely.
That's just my life experience.
Absolutely.
So if you ask me, we have to return to the traditional values,
Yeah.
and other than if we don't, we are on a slippery slope.
We are on a slippery slope. Do you know Gwinnett elected a state house Muslim?
Oh yeah, I know.
He's 21
he's
years
a 22-year-old. Yeah, he's a 22-year-old.
And he's down at the Capitol now.
Yeah,
And how
yeah.
many Muslims do we have down at the Capitol? And how many are?
I don't know.
It's going to be a lot. And so we've got to stop this socialism that people think is good. I know it's from the kids being indoctrinated and professors and stuff. My son believes socialism is good, and I have really tried to talk to him, but he thinks sharing the wealth is a good thing. So that's where kids his age think socialism is good.
Well,
so
I have to say our education system. Is destroying the country.
Amen.
If you read my book, my son, he basically grew up in church. And in chapter 11, after we moved to Georgia, I sent him to a church. We went to a church in Fairville, Fair County. And he was sent, I sent him on a vacation Bible study in northern Georgia.
Yeah.
And he was moved by what he heard. And he came back, with his eyes with tears, filled with tears. He said, I want to be baptized. Then we made arrangement. He was baptized in front of the whole congregation.
That's amazing.
I took a radio. I recorded. I still have the video recording.
Yeah.
And then you know what? After he went to college, UC Berkeley is a very liberal place.
It is very.
He told me that not only he believed in wealth sharing, now he called himself an atheist. I shouldn't say this because when he watches this, he will be mad.
That's the professor.
I can only blame the university.
Yes.
I can only blame the university. He was a devout Christian.
Yes.
He really wanted to be baptized, not just say, "Oh, I read the Bible. I play piano when people sing the hymns." And he was volunteering in church too. And after he went to college, he called himself an atheist. I hope that someday he will realize that he was saved by God. I mean, even his own life was saved by God.
Yes, it was divine intervention for sure.
And so you are absolutely right. I mean, if we have to get rid of the education. The education has to return to the basic. I was a teacher in China. You have teach the basics about reading, mathematics,
writing, and arithmetic,
the skills for life, for career. not get involved with those ideology. I mean, leave that to your parents, leave that to church, and school, university, K to 12 or university. They have written to the basic. They have to develop the skills, the writing skills, the analytical, critical thinking, all these skills. Otherwise, our students will have no skill, but a woke ideology. That's the worst we can get.
That's where we are. That's where we are with these kids and the way they're treating parents and the way that everybody treats the police officers. This is all woke and we need to stop it.
Yeah.
But Orren, I want to thank you for coming on and being on the first podcast. It's exciting. I'm going to give you the last word, what you want to say and tell the people.
Well, I just want to say that, anybody who like to read the book, I really support, I appreciate your support. I can proudly say that I packed a lot of things into that book.
You did.
It's a mixture of history and culture, and also my faith journey, and also some parenting tips. To be honest with you, I was very strict with my son.
You were
when he did not get his iPhone until sophomore years in high school.
That's awesome.
And when he was kid, he asked for toys like the Game Boy, the Game Boy. I bought it for him, but I have every chance to, if I'm free, if I'm home, if he's playing on the game on it, I just drag him out. I want him to have as little time on screen, any kind of screen, TV, and video games, or now cell phone, and so some parenting tips too, and also how Chinese parents made the sacrifice for their children. And Absolutely. I have friends who said that one of Jason's basketball coach, he told me that he knew a student who is very good, got into very good college, but his parents wouldn't pay the tuition for him to go to a very good school. That's not going to happen with Chinese parents. We push them so hard so that they can get the best college they can get. After they get into college, we will put up the tuition. Like myself, I couldn't afford that tuition. I took a job in order for him to pay in state. So that he wouldn't have a student loan. So again, thank you for reading my book, to support me, and tell
us where to get the book.
Reading,
tell us where to get the book.
Well, it's on Amazon. You just you just type the book title, Battle Hymn of the Asian Immigrant, and it's going to bring up. It comes in 3 forms. Digital book, ebook is the cheapest, is $9.99, and then you have the paperback, and then you have the hardcover. And if readers in metro area, I could sign the book. If I come to your direction.
Yes, thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
But thank you for being on, and we hope your book is a good seller and you get on the top list. And thank you again, and we appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon, Orren. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Igniting every spark. No spin, no compromise. Courage fuels the fight. Guarding the flame between what's wrong and right. Hold the line, shine a light, light a spark and burn it bright. Voices rise, correcting lies. Freedom rings when truth flies. Hold the line, shine the light, light a spark and burn it bright. Voices rise, correcting lies. Freedom rings when truth flies. Dark forces brew inside cold halls, but on this show we break through walls. Piece by piece those tales unwind. Truth marches on. under Liberty line.